once my sister painted my nails as some sort of joke, I'm pretty sure I was supposed to react badly, so I did. I remember they were painted like pink, and at the time, I didn't know what about the experience made me feel so good, because it was supposed to be a prank, but it felt awesome. I love that. Like, I loved my toenails being painted. And so for weeks after that, whenever my sister's girlfriend would come over, I'd be like, yo, you guys totally should not do that again. Please don't do that again. It would be such a shame if you guys painted my shoes were on. It would be such a shame just like wanting it to happen again. Back then I didn't know, but I think that feeling I was feeling when they painted my nails was clearly euphoria. And when you have those moments of euphoria, but you don't actually know it's euphoria, or others tell us that you might be trans and you just haven't realized it yet, you're an egg, and those moments are like egg moments, where it's like so obvious that you're trans, but you just don't get it. I feel like sometimes it's because we didn't know what being trans was. Maybe they know, but don't actually know like the full scope of it, or just never like applied being trans to like your situation. You know what I mean? And there are those moments where like people around you definitely know something might have been odd. That moment was a complete accident. It just made you look bad. It was incriminating. One time I remember getting ready for school and I had no socks, right? So I went to my sister's room. I like went into her sock drawer, right? So I'm like looking for a matching pair. I find one and I grab the first one and then I like put it on. I'm like, whoa, these go pretty high. And I'm like, wait, these go up really, really high. And then I'm like, whoa, why aren't these socks stopping? They just keep going up on my thigh. And so my mom comes in at a really bad time. She gives me that concerned like mom look. She's like, you better take those socks off. For a while I didn't know why I couldn't just use that pair. I mean, sure, they were a little long, but it was like, it's socks. Until looking back on it one time and I was thinking like, oh my gosh, my mom literally walked in on me trying to put on thigh high. I have no clue. She thought that I was trans or gay or something, but that's just one of those incriminating moments, right? You can, yeah, I am trans, but like even if I wasn't, I could have just as easily been like a straight cis person who made the same mistake. Yeah, one thing my mom always did let me do though was like walk in her heels. And in my mind, I was trying to be funny and like doing silly role play. But looking back on it, I was getting way too into it. Like, why did I know how to balance myself in heels back then and like it? I'm like getting sassy and everything. At one point, it wasn't a joke anymore. And like somebody needed to just be like, you're queer. Hey, you're queer. Yeah, truly an egg moment. When someone is an egg, they're truly oblivious to what makes them trans, or like what makes them seem trans. And it's so unclear who can see the signs that you're an egg, but even if they did, they probably wouldn't tell you, especially if they're LGBT or trans themselves, because we have something my friend calls the egg protocol, generally implying that people should never try to like pre-crack an egg before the egg is finished like making the chicken. So like you don't directly say someone is trans, because that can in a lot of cases roil up like an antagonistic approach to the idea or concept of being trans. That makes sense? Because at this point the person is a normie, and normies have like the general ideology that they don't understand trans people and they think it's a little weird, but they don't hate them. However, if they were at that point in their lives told that they were trans, they would definitely be a bit vexed and repress unfinished thoughts too, and then feelings about not being cis, even if they don't know what those feelings are in the first place. It's that natural contrarianism that we all have, that people who realize somebody is an egg have to be very careful not to tap into. I think if somebody prematurely told me that I was trans, it would have set me back a long time, because I was transphobic and also learning I was trans at the same time. I'm not saying I would have never found myself, but it would just taken me longer. And, you know, I'm kind of wondering, do some parents have like egg protocol already built in? Because I've heard countless times that people have come out to their parents and they say, finally so-and-so, I was wondering when you would realize it. Which is like so responsible. They just knew you wanted to be Noelle from Black Clover and they just didn't say anything. Anyway, something interesting is that I had one of those like egg moments, but for my sexuality. I remember going boating with my old friends and we were like at the safe place to dive in the water and swim. And I was away, so I didn't go first. One of my friends dives in, gets back onto the boat, and then my other friend dives in, and he has relatively long hair. And so he jumps in and everything is okay. Everything's going smoothly. It was the calm before the queer storm. Because when he came up, so he comes up to the surface and he did like the little wet dog thing that they do, which is actually gross if you really think about it, where they shake their hair to get all the water out. I'm like having this feeling in my chest. I'm like, what's going on? What is this feeling in my chest? And I could not stop looking at bro. Like, I hope I wasn't biting my lips or anything. But in fact, I didn't really find out what that feeling was until I was watching anime. And there is this main character who was a guy, and every time he came up on screen, I would have that same feeling. I'm like, raw, why am I feeling this again? And then I matched that feeling from the character with the whole experience on the boat, and I'm like, oh, I'm I wasn't this happy though. I'm like, I'm literally gay. Why did I have to be born like this? Then, you know, time goes on. I realize I was bisexual and everything. That's why else would I be in this room with the bisexuality? Clearly. Bisexual lady. But look, at the time, I was like, yo, I might be gay. I don't know what to do. There was so much going through my mind, you guys, at this time, because this time I was like homophobic, transphobic, like I said, and I had a bunch of like friends who are boys, and they were also transphobic, homophobic. And so this was a different time. I'm definitely gonna have to talk about that in another video. But yeah, there are like egg moments kind of for like not necessarily realizing that you're like gay or something, but having those signs and feelings and moments and stuff like that. But yeah, as it relates to trans people, when you're an egg and you're figuring yourself out, it's that actual point of the actual egg crack where you put things together and you're like, oh, I'm trans. These are the best and worst moments. It's confusing, stressful, but like also one of the happiest, most refreshed feeling moments in our lives. On one hand, you're thinking about all the potential bad things that could happen, and on the other hand, you finally figured out like why you've been so different your entire life, and you realize like, hey, that moment I had 7 or 8 years ago was euphoria, and this other moment was dysphoria. Actually being able to figure yourself out, and the best part, knowing that you're not alone and there's so many more people with similar experiences. And it's like, hey, maybe I'm not actually that weird after all. Maybe I am, but not about the trans stuff. But yeah, in that moment of that egg officially cracking, you don't know a lot of things, but you know what's missing and kind of what's next, which I think is so refreshing. Anyway, till this day, I don't know why people follow me on Blue Sky, where all I do is complain about stuff. I just didn't think anybody would like it, but you guys have continued to prove me wrong every single time. But I truly do love when you guys join my Discord and make friends and all of that stuff. So you guys have been running it up. And also, thank you to the people who clicked join to become channel members. Lila Uraraka, Haymarket Riot, and of course, Lojin. You guys are really helping me to continue doing videos and hopefully one day do like a lot more. So yeah, thank you. And thank you guys for watching this video. It really does mean a lot to me if you made it here to the end. I do stream here sometimes, so I mean, stay tuned for that if you'd like. But anyway, let me stop yapping. I'll see you guys in the next one.